Chapter 1. The final bell before Christmas break rang through the halls of Oak Ridge Middle School. Cheers and the low thump of backpacks swinging onto shoulders filled the air. At the back of Mr. Turner's sun-dappled classroom, I sat quietly, my fingers smudged with pencil lead, lost in the whirl of line and color blooming across the page of my battered sketchbook. Outside the window, snow fell in thick, fat flakes, building up on the slate roof and covering every bare branch until the world looked like one of Lolo's old Christmas cards from the Philippines, which Mama kept in a box, scented with menthol and dried bay leaves. Most kids were already out of their seats, giggling about new video games and shiny gifts that would wait for them under immaculate trees. I hunched over my notebook, still almost invisible, I hoped. My wolfish, too-large cardigan, once my cousin's, swallowed my arms. The cuffs were ragged, but they were warm. James's voice cut through the room, sharp as a snapped pencil. "Hey, guys, check it out!" He pointed behind me, but his gaze was fixed right on me. His friends laughed, sensing the setup. "Looks like someone too broke for Christmas again this year." Laughter rolled across the desks like a mean, stupid wave. I felt it sting, hot up my cheeks, prickling behind my eyes. My sketchbook snapped shut under my hand with a muffled click, knuckles white. I didn't look up. Mr. Turner, erasing the board with slow, thoughtful motions, paused. His eyes flickered, lips tightening. But before he could step in, James kept going. "Bet that's why you're always drawing, huh? If I had nothing to open over break, I'd be pretty bored too." Someone whispered, "Ouch," and there was a rustle. A bounce of laughter died away. Lila, strawberry blonde curls full of static from her winter hat, shot daggers across the aisle at James. But she didn't say anything, not yet. She learned, like me, that rising to James only gave him what he wanted. I felt the heat behind my eyes, kept my face pressed forward, and smoothed out my features into my secret half-smile. The one I learned from my Lola's wedding photograph. It was the look that meant, I am made from something you don't understand. I traced the edge of a trailing sampaguita blossom on my sketchbook's cover. I didn't let the teardrop fall. James turned away, triumphant, tossing his hair back. The holiday chaos ramped up again, and the rest of the kids forgot about me as quickly as they'd laughed. Mr. Turner drifted closer, his footsteps soft. Lila flashed me a quick thumbs up, the sign we used for hanging there. Packing up took longer. My hands shook as I zipped the sketchbook into my bag. It felt heavier than usual, as if it contained not just my art but the lump in my throat and the ache of wanting, for once, to fit in without shrinking myself. Outside, wet snow squished under my faded sneakers. The streetlights flickered to life, turning the falling flakes gold around me and Lila. She didn't say anything as we walked. The hush between us was thick, comforting as warm pandazzle straight from the oven. At the corner by the old furniture store, I stopped. I wiped at my eyes, pretending I was fixing my hair. Lila scuffed her boots in the snow. "You okay?" she asked softly. "I'm so tired of James making me feel worthless because my family can't afford expensive gifts." The words slipped out raw, like pulling a splinter. "I just wish I could do something, you know." Lila took my glove in her mitten, squeezing hard. "They have no idea what we've built. Remember why we decided to keep it a secret." Her eyes were fierce, blue and sure in the dimming light. I nodded. Our secret felt suddenly like pearls in my pocket, something no one could see, but that made me stand taller, if just a little. The wind bit harder. I pulled out my phone, pretending to check the bus schedule. But what I was really looking for was something else. A red notification badge on an app tucked away in a folder called Art Stuff. "Let's check tonight after dinner?" Lila asked, her voice dropping so low I almost missed it. "Yeah." My voice was steadier now, the humiliation of James's words turning inside me into something sharper, harder. I squeezed my sketchbook under my arm, drawing strength from the thought that what we'd made was ours alone. At home, Mama called me in from the mudroom with the clink of chopsticks against a bowl. She hugged me extra tight, the comfort of ginger and warm rice threading through me, sweeping away the remains of James's laughter. After dinner, I snuck upstairs and pressed the sketchbook to my chest, closing my eyes as I let the patterns I'd drawn, leaf and lace, river and sun, spin in the dark. No one here knew the truth, that I wasn't just the broke girl with old shoes and a funny accent. I was mystery artist, or half of her anyway. And maybe, just maybe, that was all the Christmas magic I needed. For now. The snow was cold on my face as Lila and I walked away from school. I kept my eyes on the ground. My sketchbook felt heavy in my backpack. My chest hurt in a way I couldn't explain. I didn't want to cry, not here on the street where people could see. Lila was quiet, too. Finally, I stopped under a bare tree. The branches looked like bony hands. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Why does James always have to do that?" I said. My voice broke a little. "I'm so tired of him laughing at me because I don't have new shoes or expensive clothes." Lila kicked at the icy slush. "He's such a jerk," she said. "I wish he'd just leave you alone, Sophie. It's not fair." I looked up at the sky. The clouds were thick and gray. I felt like they might fall right on top of me. "He makes me feel worthless, like I'm not as good as them just because we don't have money." Lila put her mitten around my gloved fingers and squeezed tight. "Don't say that," she said. "You're worth so much, Sophie, more than he'll ever know. Remember what we said about secrets." I nodded. My throat felt scratchy. "Yeah," I said, "but sometimes I want to shout, you know. I want to tell everyone what we've really done, not just sit there while he makes fun of me." "I get it," Lila said. She stared ahead, cheeks pink from the cold. "Remember why we decided to keep it secret, though? We didn't want it to change things at school." I remembered the night we made that promise. We were giggling in her room, our faces glowing in the blue-white light of her computer. She showed me how to hide our names online. We became mystery artists. Nobody guessed it was actually us. Still, tonight, it was hard to remember the good parts. James's words played in my mind over and over. "Too broke for Christmas again this year." He said it on purpose, so everyone would laugh at me. Lila leaned closer. "We have something that matters, Sophie. They can't see it because, well, they just don't understand." I brushed a tear away and tried to smile. "But what if they find out? What if everyone knows?" My voice shook. "Would they treat me different? Like, would they hate me even more?" Lila squeezed my hand again. "No way. If anything, they'd be jealous. Besides, only you and I know how hard you worked. All those late nights drawing, learning patterns from your Lola, making every design different." A car passed by, spraying snow onto the sidewalk. I jumped back and laughed a little, even though my face was still wet from crying. Lila started giggling, too. It felt good to laugh, just a little. Then I said, "Do you think they'll ever be nice to me, if they find out?" Lila thought for a moment. "Maybe," she said. "People can be really weird about stuff like that. But hey, do you want to check the notifications tonight? We could see if anyone bought something new." I wiped my nose. "Yeah, let's do that." I pulled out my phone and opened the app. We had a few new notifications. Heart-shaped likes, some nice comments too. My breath caught a little. These people really loved my work. They loved what I made. "See," Lila said. "Look at that. You're amazing, Sophie." I wanted to believe her. Really, I did. I looked at the $2.93 we got today. It wasn't much. Still, it helped with things. Sometimes Mom used that money for extra rice or to pay the internet bill. We walked in silence for a bit. I kept thinking about James, and about tomorrow and all the days after. Would he stop? Would he ever be sorry for what he said? Or would it get worse if he found out who I really was online? I shuffled my feet. My fingers felt frozen. What if something big happens?" I asked. Lila turned, her breath making small clouds in the air. She looked serious now. "Then we deal with it. We stick together always." I nodded, feeling a little stronger because she said that. My heart still ached, though. I wished I could tell Mom all of this, but I didn't want her to worry. She had enough problems, with Dad working the night shift and bills piling up on the kitchen counter. We reached my house. The light was on in the window. Mom's shadow moved in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. "I'll text you later, okay?" I said. Lila smiled. "Yeah, and let me know if you get any cool comments. You're going to be famous, Sophie. Just watch." I tried to smile back. If you say so, I said. I wanted to believe her, but James's voice still echoed in my head. Before I went inside, I looked at my phone one more time. Another notification popped up. It looked different. My heart skipped. Lila, I called, but she had already turned the corner. My fingers shook as I tapped the app. What I saw next made my mouth fall open. And right then, I knew nothing would ever be the same. 6 months ago, summer was just starting. It was the hottest day, and I was sitting on Lila's bed, sketchbook open on my knees. Lila crunched chips and stared at her laptop. My pencils made soft, scratching sounds as I filled my page with swirls and flowers. Wow, Sophie, that one looks amazing, Lila said. I looked up. You mean it? She took my notebook and flipped through the pages. I really do. I wish I could draw like this, she said. I shrugged. My Lola taught me. She showed me old patterns from the Philippines. She said they tell stories. I just changed them a little so they look modern, I guess. Lila grinned. That's what's so cool, though. No one else here draws this way. I watched her click around on her computer. My heart thumped when she turned the screen so I could see. Look, she said. There's this new platform online. Artists sell their stuff even as NFTs. Some people make real money, and you don't even have to be 18. I bit my lip. You think anyone would want my art? Lila rolled her eyes. Are you serious? People are paying for stuff way less cool. Come on, let's try. We can use an anonymous name, something mysterious. She wiggled her eyebrows. I giggled. Like what? She typed fast. How about mystery artist? It fits you. My chest filled with warmth. What if my parents find out? I said. Lila laughed. They won't. As long as you don't use your real name, nobody will ever know. I hesitated, but she was so sure. Okay, I said. We spent the whole afternoon uploading pictures. Some were my drawings on paper. Others I took with my mom's phone and made digital on Lila's tablet. Days passed. I kept checking the app. One night Lila texted me. Check now. I called her. What is it? You got an offer, she screamed. Someone wants to buy your bamboo sunflower piece for $20. My heart leaped. No way. Yes way, we did it, Lila said. I could hear her clapping through the phone. After that, more people followed our page. Little by little, they bought pieces. Lila told me, your patterns are magic, Sophie. People feel it even online. I felt braver. I kept drawing after school, even when I was tired or when Mom said to do my chores first. I'd whisper to myself, one day they'll know I'm not just the poor girl. One night, something wild happened. Lila messaged me a link. Watch this, she said. It was a famous influencer, a girl with blue hair, holding a print of my mango leaves design. She said, whoever this mystery artist is, I am obsessed. Look at these colors, you guys. Does anyone know who made these? I gasped. Is this real? I wrote to Lila. She sent back a smiley face. Told you, you're famous now. I was shaking. I wanted to shout. I wanted to tell Mom and Dad. What if someone finds out? I asked. No one will, Lila said. But Sophie, everyone online keeps sharing your art. Look at the numbers. Her voice was shaking too. It made me feel excited but scared. Was this really happening to us? Sales went crazy. One morning, Lila called me before school. Check the app, Sophie, she said. I opened it, expecting maybe another sale for $5. Instead, there were hundreds of comments, hundreds of notifications. I stared at the screen, heart thundering. Lila's voice came through the phone again. Sophie, are you okay? I could barely speak. Why are there so many new messages? Lila half whispered, a collector messaged us. They bought 3 designs last night. That's $100, Sophie. That can't be true, I said. I swear, Lila said, laughing with joy. You're blowing up. Should we even tell anyone? Or maybe we just keep it secret for now. I squeezed my eyes shut, feeling tears. I felt proud but also afraid. Let's not tell, not yet. I want to see how far this goes, I said. Lila said, deal. But Sophie, you're amazing. Don't ever listen to those jerks at school. If they knew what you're really doing, they'd lose their minds. I wiped my cheek. Maybe one day they'll find out, or maybe I'll just keep surprising them. Lila burst out laughing. Imagine James's face. I smiled, but deep down I was scared too. What if someone did find out? What if it all disappeared tomorrow? Before I could say anything else, my phone buzzed again. This time, the message was from someone I never expected. I sat up straight, heart pounding, not sure if I should open it. Lila and I sat cross-legged on my bed. My laptop warmed my knees, and between us sat the old notebook, the one with torn edges. I stared at the screen, my stomach tight. Lila sounded nervous. "Ready," she said. I took a deep breath. "I guess so, it's just, what if it's nothing?" She shook her head. "No way, that message yesterday was huge, Soph. Remember how I jumped when I saw it?" I tried to laugh. "You almost dropped your phone," I said. She giggled, but her eyes kept darting to the screen. "I really think this is important. Maybe it's a sale, or maybe it's..." She stopped, biting her lip. I clicked the mouse. My hands were shaking. The website took a second to load. Those few seconds felt like forever. Then the page popped up. My bank account stared back at me. Or really, our business account. Usually we saw a few $100s, maybe a little more. But now, my eyes almost bugged out. Lila's voice squeaked. "Is that $2 million? I blinked. I rubbed my eyes. "That can't be right," I said. "That has to be a mistake. That's impossible." She grabbed my hand. "Check the notifications. Maybe someone was hacked or something." Together, we clicked onto the notification bell. There it was. The biggest, bluest alert on my screen. Entire portfolio purchased. Buyer, crypto investor X amount, $2,100,000. I thought maybe I was dreaming. My heart thumped so loud I thought it would burst. Lila gasped. "It's real, Sophie. This person bought every single art piece, all at once." My voice came out as a whisper. "But why us? Why would someone do that?" Lila looked just as shocked as I felt. "Because you're amazing, that's why. Because your art is different, special." I let go of the mouse and grabbed a pillow. I squeezed it tight, hard enough to make my arms hurt. "Lila, this is too much money. What if someone finds out?" She shook her head fast. "They won't. We're secret, remember? Mystery artist, no one knows." I could barely breathe. But what do we even do now? We can't keep this a secret forever. Lila kept staring at the screen. "Sophie, we did it, we did it. We're millionaires, I think. Actual millionaires." I tried to smile, but my mouth was dry. I thought about my mom, how she counted every coupon before shopping. I thought about our peeling kitchen counters, the saggy couch. My heart twisted. "What if Mom and Dad freak out?" I said. "They might not even want all this. It could change everything. What if someone at school finds out?" I felt a little sick. Lila reached out and hugged me tight. "We don't have to do anything right now," she said. "No one has to know." Her words made it better, just a little. I moved away and stared at the laptop. "Should I tell my parents?" I asked. Lila stayed quiet for a long time. "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe think about it for a day. We can't undo it if we say something." My hands shook. I wiped my eyes. "What if it's all a scam?" I asked. "What if it disappears tomorrow?" Lila clicked open the banking website. "It looks real, Sophie," she pointed. "Look, it all checked out. The buyer left a note. They said your art was the most moving mix of culture and color they'd ever seen. See, they left their phone number and even a thank you." Tears burned my eyes. I covered my face with my hands. "Is it funny I want to cry right now?" I said. Lila hugged me again. "No, not at all. I almost want to scream." We sat in silence. I stared at the pattern on my pillow, little blue swirls like waves. Finally, I whispered, "Can we just sit here for a minute, just breathe, pretend nothing is different?" Lila let out a huge sigh. "Yeah, let's just sit, but soon you'll have to decide what secret you want to keep, Sophie." I nodded into her shoulder. My chest hurt from how hard my heart was beating. Then my phone buzzed. Another notification, but this time it wasn't from the bank or the art platform. I picked it up. My eyes went wide when I saw the name. It was a message from James. I didn't fall asleep until the sky turned light gray outside my window. My mind raced all night. Everything just felt too big, too heavy. What if someone found out? What if James found out? What would he do? When I came downstairs, my mom asked, "Are you feeling okay, Anik? You look tired." "I'm fine, Mom," I said. "Just had trouble sleeping." I pushed food around on my plate and tried to not look nervous. I kept thinking about the message from James. I still hadn't opened it. My stomach twisted into knots just thinking about it. On the bus to school, Lila sat next to me. She whispered, "Did you answer James?" I shook my head. "Not yet. What if he knows? What if he found out about everything?" Lila frowned. "He can't know unless you told someone." "I didn't," I said. My voice was shaky. "I swear." She squeezed my hand. "Just act normal. He probably just wants to tease you about something dumb again." I nodded, but my heart thudded hard. At school, I could feel eyes on me. Maybe it was just in my head. James was at his locker. When I walked past, he smirked but didn't say anything. I breathed out, a little bit relieved. Later in art class, Mr. Turner smiled at me. "Good morning, Sophie," he said. "That's a new sketchbook, isn't it?" I looked down. "No, it's just my old one. I keep drawing." He said, "You really have a special talent. Don't forget that." I felt my cheeks get warm. "Thank you," I said. Lila sat next to me and leaned over. "I think you should print it. The screenshot, the bank account, maybe just the balance." "Are you serious?" I asked. I stared at her. She nodded. "You should have something, just in case. Make sure you cover the names and stuff." My hands felt cold and shaky. "I don't know if I'm brave enough to show anyone," I said. Lila said, "Just keep it with you. You never know when you'll want it." After school, I went straight to the library. I printed the screenshot, just the big number, $2 million, everything else blacked out with a marker. It felt weird, like holding a secret treasure. When I got home, I looked at it again. I hid it in a red folder with my art. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about James's message. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. What if he knew? What if he did? What if he found out from someone else? What if he tried to use it against me, just to embarrass me? The next morning, I stood in front of my mirror and smoothed down my shirt for the 100th time. I put the red folder in my backpack and zipped it up. I saw myself in the mirror, and for once I looked different. I wasn't sure why. Maybe it was the folder. Maybe it was something inside me. At breakfast, my mom asked, "Are you nervous about something, Sophie?" I shook my head. "No, just a school thing." At school, everything felt brighter and louder. Everyone was excited for Christmas break. I walked down the hallway. I felt the folder press against my back. Mr. Turner stopped me outside his classroom. He smiled at me, kind like always. "You look different today, Sophie," he said. "Confident." I laughed. "Really, I'm just tired." He looked at the red folder in my hand. "Working on a new project." "Sort of," I said. He said, "I can't wait to see it one day." When I got to my locker, I saw James coming down the hall. He watched me, almost like he was trying to figure me out. I looked away fast and tried to focus on opening my locker. Lila found me before last period. "You okay?" she asked. "No," I said. "Yes, I don't know." She nodded. "You're doing great," she said. I smiled. "Thanks," but inside I wanted to run. There was only one thought in my head all day. Should I show James the folder? Should I show everyone? Or should I keep hiding and let him think I'm just the poor girl with nothing? I reached into my backpack and touched the folder. My heart beat faster. It felt like I was holding more than just a piece of paper. It felt like I was holding my secret life. I wanted to scream or cry or just disappear. Right then, the loudspeaker crackled to life. "All 7th graders, please come to the gym for the Christmas party. Gift exchange will begin in 10 minutes." I grabbed my backpack. The folder felt heavy as a stone. My head was full of questions. What would I do at the party? And what would happen if James really knew everything? The gym was buzzing with music and laughter. Colorful lights danced across the walls. Kids wore their newest sneakers and sparkly sweaters, showing off like it was a contest. I walked in, pulling my sleeves down. My jeans had a patch on the knee, and my shirt was soft from too many washes. But today, around my neck, I wore something special. It was a small pendant, a Filipino sun and stars in gold. It was beautiful and real. Lila and I picked it out last weekend. It was the first new thing I'd gotten for myself in a long time. Lila found me in the crowd. "You look amazing," she said, grinning. I ran my hand over the pendant. "Thanks," I said. My face felt hot. She leaned in. "Don't let him get to you." I nodded. My heart started pounding when I saw James and his crew. They had their arms full of shiny gift bags. James grinned big when he saw me. He walked over, loud and perfect as always. "Nice plastic jewelry, Sophie," James said. He pointed to my pendant so everyone stared at it. "Did you find it in a cereal box?" His friends burst out laughing. My cheeks burned. I wanted to hide. I touched my pendant, so real, so special to me, and tried not to let the tears come. Lila stepped forward. "That's not funny, James," she said, but he just smirked. James leaned closer. "Seriously, Sophie, you gonna give me one of your pencil drawings for Christmas? Or maybe an old shoe?" More laughter. I bit my lip. My hand slid toward the red folder in my backpack, my secret, the truth I could throw in his face. I pulled my hand back. Was it even worth it? Would telling him make me just like him? My chest felt tight. I turned to Lila. "Do you think I should?" I whispered. "Should I show them?" Lila's eyes looked worried. "Only if it's safe. Only if you want to." The teacher clapped for quiet. "Time for the gift exchange," she called. Names were picked from a big bowl. I squeezed Lila's hand so tight my knuckles hurt. "And James and Sophie, you two are paired," the teacher announced. Everyone gasped. Some kids giggled. I could hardly breathe. James grinned, holding out a small bag. "Don't get too excited," he said, gleaming with fake kindness. I took the bag and looked inside. It was a plastic keychain, the kind you buy for $1. I stared at it, feeling anger and sadness swirl inside me. James spoke up, loud so everyone could hear. "Thought you might need something expensive since it's probably the nicest thing you own." A few kids laughed again. Tears burned my eyes, but I blinked them away. I straightened my shoulders. I pulled an envelope from my backpack. I handed it to him. Inside was a tiny origami heart I made, and under it the printed screenshot. The one with the $1 million bank balance, everything else blacked out. "Here," I said. My voice almost shook, but I kept it steady. James opened the envelope in front of everyone. He looked bored at first, then saw the number on the paper. His face changed, smugness melting into total shock. His hands started to shake. "What is this?" James said, his voice weird and small. I looked him right in the eye. "It's true," I said. "That's mine." The class stared. James looked up, searching my face like he couldn't believe it. The room went quiet, no laughter, just whispers. Lila's mouth was open in surprise. She grabbed my arm. James just stood there, frozen, blinking down at the paper in his hand. For once, he had nothing mean to say. I held my chin up, but inside, fear and excitement twisted together. Had I just made a huge mistake? What would happen now? Eyes were on me, questions in every stare. James's hand was shaking as he looked at me, and then at the number again. The room felt like it would explode. And right then, the teacher called out, "Sophie, James, is everything okay over there?" I turned, hiding my shaking hands, and tried to breathe. All I could think was, I had finally shown my secret. Now nothing would ever be the same. Kids were still whispering as we all left the gym, but I barely heard them. My heart was beating so loud, it was like a drum only I could feel. I clutched my backpack and hurried down the hall, but James caught up right away. He grabbed my arm. "Wait," James said. His voice was sharp, but it shook a little. "What was that number? That has to be a joke." I pulled my arm away. "It's not a joke," I said. I tried to keep my head high, but my stomach twisted with fear. "You wouldn't believe me anyway." James held up the envelope. How could that be you? Did you steal this? Did you fake it? Tell me how you did it. I felt hot tears sting my eyes, but I didn't want to cry, not in front of him. I said nothing. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Seriously, Sophie, are you in trouble? Did you hack something? Is this for real? Lila ran up, her cheeks red. Leave her alone, James, she said. You're only asking because you can't stand that she has something you don't. He glared at Lila. Back off, Lila, this isn't about you. I took out my phone, my hands shaking. You want proof, I said. I showed him the mystery artist profile, the hundreds of followers, the little blue checkmark, the art that matched my notebook. James stared at it, his mouth hung open. That's you, he said. His voice was small now, nothing like before. You're mystery artist. I nodded and put my phone away. I did all of it, all those patterns, all those pictures. I sold them myself. James shook his head. That's impossible. People like you don't. He stopped like he'd said too much. I glared at him. People like me? What do you mean? He looked down at his shoes. His voice dropped. I mean, you never bragged. You never even looked proud of yourself. Lila said, she never needed to. That's how you know she's real. I sniffled and wiped my face with my sleeve. I never needed money or anything expensive to feel important. My Lola taught me to make art from the heart, from her Filipino stories. That's my real treasure, not what people think. James looked lost. He held the envelope in both hands, his face white. You made all this, and you never told anyone. I didn't want people to look at me different, I said. They already do just because my family isn't rich, but that's not who I am. He was quiet now. He slid the envelope back into my hand and stared at the floor. I'm sorry, Sophie, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I mean it. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. He wiped his eyes really fast. You're braver than any of us, you know. I thought money meant I was better. I was wrong. I stared at him, not sure if I could believe it. You really mean that? He nodded. I do. I'm sorry I was so mean to you. I don't know. I don't even know why I did it. I felt so many things at once. Anger, surprise, relief, and a strange sadness, too. I had dreamed of this moment, but now that it was here, it just felt weird. Lila squeezed my hand. Let's go, she said softly. But before we turned away, James said, Wait, if you could do all that, maybe I'm wrong about a lot of things. But don't tell anyone I said that, okay? His voice was shaky. I almost smiled. Your secret is safe with me, I said. He managed a tiny smile. Thanks, Sophie. Then he hurried down the hall, head down. Lila and I walked out into the cold air. My hands shook, but not from the weather. Are you okay? Lila asked. I nodded, though I barely felt real. I think so, maybe. But what if the whole school finds out? What if people start treating me weird? Or what if this is just the start and more people will want things from me? Lila said, We'll face it together. You're not alone, Sophie. You never were. Her words warmed me. For a moment, I believed her. But as we went down the steps, I saw kids on their phones, showing each other something. I heard my own name in a whisper. That's when I realized my secret might already be out. When I walked into school the next morning, everything felt strange. Kids in the hallway stared at me. Some whispered to each other. Some even smiled at me for the first time all year. I could feel my cheeks turning red. I tried to keep my head down. I wanted to disappear, just melt into the wall. Lila hurried up beside me. Did you see everyone's faces? She said. People are totally talking about you. I nodded. I know, I hate it, I said. Do you think James told them? She shrugged. Maybe, or maybe someone else saw yesterday. I mean, you did show him that paper, and everyone saw his reaction. I sighed. I should have been more careful, I said. Now what? Lila looked at me with kind eyes. You're still you, Sophie. Don't let them make you feel different. But it was already happening. I felt different, like nothing would ever be normal again. When I got to art class, Mr. Turner was waiting for me at the door. Sophie, he said, smiling, can I talk to you for a minute? I followed him into the empty classroom. I tried to stop my hands from shaking. He said, "I wanted to tell you something." He sat down and pointed to the chair next to him, so I sat too. He leaned closer and whispered, "You know the artist, Mystery Artist?" My heart jumped. "Uh-huh," I said. He smiled big. "I've been following that account online for months. The art is stunning. The patterns remind me of your cultural drawings, the ones from the beginning of the year." I swallowed. "I like their art too," I said softly. He grinned and said, "I only just found out it was you. Some students were talking outside the office." My stomach dropped. I felt scared and proud at the same time. I looked at my shoes. "Sophie," he said gently, "I'm so proud of you. I can't believe how far you've gone all on your own." Tears pressed at my eyes. "You really mean it?" "I do," he said. "And if you ever want help or if you need a mentor, I'm here. I believe in you." I started crying, not loud, just a little. "Thank you," I whispered. It felt like 100 pounds lifting off my chest. He handed me a tissue and said, "Don't worry about the other kids. They'll forget in a week, and if they don't, it's because they wish they were as brave as you." I wiped my eyes. "It's still hard," I said. "Now they act like I'm special, but yesterday they didn't even know my name." He nodded. "That's how people are, but real friends stay the same no matter what." The bell rang and I hurried to my seat. Lila mouthed, "Are you okay?" I nodded. Class started, and Mr. Turner gave the lesson. But everyone kept sneaking looks at me, like I was a puzzle they wanted to solve. At lunch, something even weirder happened. Kids who had always ignored me started coming over. A girl named Mia asked, "Hey, can I see your sketchbook?" Another kid said, "Is it true you made digital art and sold it online?" I felt nervous, but I smiled. "Yes, I made them with patterns my Lola taught me." They looked surprised, like I was a new person. James walked by my table. He didn't say anything mean. He just looked at me and nodded. I nodded back. It felt strange, but maybe good, too. Lila pulled me aside. "Are you okay with all this?" she asked. I stared at the lunch table. "I don't know. I liked being invisible sometimes." She said, "Well, you're not invisible now. You're amazing." I wanted to believe her. At the end of the day, Mr. Turner stopped me again. "Think about what I said, Sophie. I really want to help you grow." I nodded. "Thank you," I said. When I went home, I sat in my room, feeling a mix of happy and scared. I was proud, but I was also afraid that nothing would be the same again. Some things can change in one day, I thought, and sometimes you don't know if that's good or bad. My phone buzzed. A message lit up. It was from James. He wrote, "Meet me before school tomorrow, please." I stared at my phone, unsure what would happen next. And I wondered, was this really the beginning of something new or just another twist in my story? Christmas Eve always felt special at our house. The smell of garlic and onions drifted through the air. Mom was cooking lumpia in the tiny kitchen, and Dad was singing along to old Filipino songs on the radio. The lights on our little fake tree blinked red and green. It looked just the same as every other year, but inside, I was different. Lila had gone home already, and I kept running my fingers over the folder in my lap. Tonight, I had to tell my parents everything. My hands shook as I watched them laughing together. A pile of bills sat nearby, looking smaller than before, like they were about to disappear. "Anak, come help me," Mom said. Her voice was warm and happy. I joined her by the stove. She pushed a plate of fried noodles toward me. "Taste this," she said. I took a bite and tried to smile, but my stomach was full of butterflies. "It's good, Mom," I said. She nodded. "You always say that." She ruffled my hair, then went back to slicing vegetables. Dad poked his head in. "Sophie, you're quiet tonight. Something wrong?" I took a deep breath. "Can we talk, all together?" Mom and Dad looked at each other, worried now. We sat at the table. The food steamed up between us. My heart thumped loud. I opened the folder. I pulled out the screenshot and put it in front of them. I could barely get words out. "I need to tell you something," I said. "But please, just listen." They stared at the paper. Mom's eyes grew wide. "What is this?" she said. Dad frowned. Is it real, Sophie? He said, sounding scared. I nodded, my hands shaking. It's my art. I made it and put it on the internet. People bought it. A man bought all of it last week for a lot of money. They stared at me in silence. I swallowed, afraid. Afraid they would be angry. Afraid I had done something wrong. Mom's mouth hung open. All this is yours. You did this, Anak. I nodded. Lila helped me, but I made the art. I used the patterns Lola taught me. I sold them online. I kept it secret. I didn't know if you'd be mad. Dad was blinking fast. You paid all this for our old drawings. I shook my head. No, not old ones. I made new art with those patterns you told me about. That's what everyone liked. Mom covered her mouth. I thought she might cry. You are so talented, Sophie. I can't believe it. I pushed more papers over with words typed in big letters, paid in full. I used some of the money, I said. I paid off the house. I paid for Lola's hospital bills. We don't owe anything now. Mom's eyes filled with tears. She jumped up and hugged me tight. You are our Christmas miracle, she whispered into my hair. Dad wiped his eyes and tried to laugh, but his voice was shaky. I always said you had your Lola's magic hands, he said. I hugged both of them. I felt warm and safe for the first time in days. Mom pulled back, tears running down her cheeks. You kept this secret so long. I nodded. I wanted to make you proud. I wanted to help. She caressed my cheek and smiled. You could never disappoint us. Never. For a moment, everything was quiet but full of joy. Even the pile of bills looked harmless now. After dinner, the three of us sat on the couch. Dad said, What will you do now, Sophie? I shrugged. I want to keep making art, but I still don't want everyone at school to know all of it. Not yet. Mom said, You decide, we trust you. Just then my phone buzzed. I looked down. It was a new message. My breath caught when I read who it was from James. I opened the message. Hi, Sophie. I'm sorry for everything. I want to make things better. Will you help me with a charity project? My dad's company is helping families for the holidays. I want you to work with me. I stared at the screen. My feelings twisted inside me. Surprise, worry, hope. I couldn't believe James was reaching out to me like this. Dad saw my face. Who is it, Anak? He asked. I looked up, not sure how to answer. It's James, I said. He wants me to help him do something good. Mom smiled. Sometimes people change. My heart pounded. I typed back, okay, let's talk tomorrow. But inside, I wondered what would happen next. Would James really change? Did I want to trust him? Could I really help someone who had once hurt me so much? I closed my eyes and squeezed the pendant around my neck. For the first time, I felt proud and maybe a little excited for the future. But I didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Not yet. The day after Christmas, the world felt new. Light shone through our kitchen window and made the old linoleum shine. Everyone in my family was full of smiles. Mom made hot chocolate and Dad laughed at every little thing. I felt different inside, lighter, braver. My phone buzzed on the table. It was James again. I stared at the screen. I felt a little scared to talk to him, but also curious. He wanted to meet about the charity project. Mom said, You don't have to go if you're not ready. I nodded. I think I want to, I said. I have to see if he really changed. Dad patted my shoulder. You are strong, Sophie. Just be yourself. I put on my coat and wrapped my scarf tight. My pendant rested above my heart and gave me courage. Walking to the community center, I kept thinking of everything James had said and done this year. He had hurt me a lot, but people can change. Right. James was waiting outside. He wore a big red hat and looked nervous. When he saw me, he let out a shaky breath. Thanks for coming, he said. I nodded. It's okay, I said. My voice still sounded small. He handed me a folder. Here's the idea, he said. My dad's friends give money every year, but they don't know what families really need. We thought you could help. I mean, you actually know. I opened the folder. There were pictures of families, lists of names and needs. Warm coats, food, shoes, help with rent. It reminded me of when my mom had to choose what bill to pay each month. I looked up at James. This is a lot, I said. He nodded. I know, I never thought about it before, he said. I was so mean to you, Sophie. I didn't want to see how hard things can be. But you never gave up on yourself. I blinked back tears. I was scared all the time. I thought being poor meant I didn't matter. James looked down. It was wrong of me to treat you like that, he said. I'm sorry, really. I want to do better. I sighed. I wanted to believe him. People can change, but it takes time, I said. He nodded. I know, maybe you can teach me, he said, and gave a small, hopeful smile. I opened my sketchbook. We can start with this, I said. We could sell some art to help raise money, maybe put up a charity auction online. Lila is good with computers, so she can help too. James perked up. Would you really work with me? He said. I thought about it for a moment. Yes, I said, but only if you promise to treat everyone with respect, even when you're angry, even if you're jealous. Can you do that? He took off his hat and nodded. I'll try, Sophie. I really will. Something changed in his eyes. For the first time, he seemed real, just a kid like me. We sat down on the steps, going over the project plans. We made lists and brainstormed ideas. James listened and didn't laugh once when I talked about art or family. It felt strange, but a good kind of strange. After a while, James said, People are going to be surprised, huh? Me and you working together. I grinned just a little. Yeah, they will, but maybe it can help other kids feel hope too. He said, You know you're brave, Sophie. I wish I'd seen it sooner. I felt warmth in my chest. Everyone had always called James the leader, but maybe now I could help him be a better one. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Lila was calling me. I answered and she shouted, Sophie, some famous artist is sharing your story. You went viral again. My heart raced. What do you mean? I asked, fear and excitement mixing inside me. James stared at me, worry on his face. Will everything change again? He whispered. I didn't know the answer. Right then, I only knew that things were about to get even bigger, and that this time I wasn't facing any of it alone.